This video briefly covers automation, robotics process automation, and machine learning, and it will explain the differences as well among all of these. It will also explain the performance metrics which could be useful for RPA from a process excellence point of view. And in the end, it will also cover some of the application areas for the RPA. And here I'm talking about the process automations. This involves building the automation solution around the process or processes. You can think of it as a packaged solution for end-to-end process. To quote an example, long back I was working on centralizing and automating manual and dispersed processes of fund accounting. This involved profile designing, right level of access, automation of processes, and pretty much everything through an efficient user interface in a controlled manner rather than multiple teams working on different parts of processes and using Excel sheets. In simplified terms, a user interface to take the input, process it, and generate the desired output by leveraging a backend database. These automations are very common and usually central to most of the processes. For example, costing or general ledger. But then there are some challenges. Let me get into the process level here because this is where we generally have opportunities for RPA and further efficiency in the process. Coming from the software development, I had my struggle with RPA initially. I was always keen on having the fixes within the system than outside because that provides better control. However, gradually the reality kicked in that this may not be the most economical approach always. After all, the processes are quite dynamic and continuously being so. Also, the primary focus of improvement is the process improvement and not the solution improvement. So what could be potential areas of process improvement? So usually the input is standard and comes from scrubbing data from different sources or a batch extract from an external source. We can use RPA to streamline the raw data preparation and loading it into the main system. It can save quite an effort and very useful where this activity is done frequently at a high effort rate. Then comes the processing, that is the human interaction with the system may be quite repeatable given the automated systems follow standard processes. This gives an opportunity to use RPA to get the processing done through programmed bots. There may be time and judgment dependency, where we humans can work in conjunction or we can leverage machine learning. The output is quite standard but may need reconciliation with external or against any settlement systems. So here again the RPA can be used effectively. So overall the RPA does make sense. Have a look at the bots placed in the process. A bot can be programmed to manage the input and upload. A bot can take care of repeatable standard processes and it can work in conjunction with humans to perform analysis and verification. A bot can do the reconciliations and validations within defined parameters. So RPA is mostly automating the processing activities to replace with bots, that is the software programs. Now let's move on to machine learning and see where it fits in the process excellence context. So machine learning is about managing the exceptions and decision making which is involved in the processes. It is like human brain learning new ways with new experiences. Every time an exception is caught, the program flags it, and then a solution around is programmed in the automation. So next time it will just process it without an issue. This can be done dynamically or it can be done manually. It can manage the input cognitively to manage any changes in the input or to flag new exceptions. A bot can certainly manage the repeatable processes, and it can reduce the need for the analysis and verification to the extent we can program or we can capture the exceptions. It can also improve the reconciliation by programming decision making. So that's all about automation, RPA, and machine learning. You can certainly exit the video at this time if you just wanted to understand the automation, RPA, and machine learning, but you can continue if you want to understand a bit of metrics and application areas of RPA. So some of the challenges with RPA implementations: availability of variety of tools and overpromising by RPA vendors, and a race to show ahead in innovation has created an environment where there are instances of inefficient application of RPAs. Also, often RPA is showcased as a magic pill for quick savings and disregarding the painful journey of PPM or process excellence. Let me put the challenges in very simple terms here. So some of the challenges are unrealistic expectations, automating the wrong area, higher cost versus benefit, employee resistance and low acceptance, wrong tool, so that is the automation versus RPA, and the siloed implementation. And with that, let's quickly move on to the performance metrics. It is important to understand the performance metrics here. But what is performance metrics? Here it is important to understand that process improvement metrics are different from RPA performance metrics. You have an additional cost involved for RPA, and RPA should justify benefit in view of the overall process improvement. Automation has been in the industry for a long time, and a simple automailer tool can be done using scripting, Excel, or any other license-free tool instead of a costly RPA. And that impacts the cost-benefit ratio. So theory of marginal revenue and costing must be considered. Now, key performance indicators. So that's a key performance metrics, KPIs, and establishing KPIs are important. These should be value focused. In an invoice verification, for an example, where bots were extracting the invoice, we complemented it with a threshold that above certain amount only will be extracted. So it had a significant impact. And if you have a bot, that doesn't mean that you extract everything and waste the resources at. Measure the process. So that's key one, measure the current process performance. This one goes without saying, as is state, gap analysis, and target state. Without that roadmap, we can't go anywhere. Now the types of performance metrics. So what performance metrics we should have? Some standard ones here, though you can certainly add as you find suitable. Sustainability is quite a buzz these days, so you can consider those. But let me start with the 3 E's. So economic is where you have cost advantage. Effectiveness means improving the process quality and performance. And efficiency is delivering more with less. Now the Six Sigma suggests to have 3 high-level metrics as an ideal set. It is imperative that one of the big 3 metrics to be customer focused. You can think about that. Some useful performance metrics for RPA. Productivity. There is nothing like having a bot to improve productivity, but this has to have a balance of demand versus supply. If there is a seasonal impact in productivity, it makes a perfect case for a bot. You don't have to worry about keeping staff occupied during the lean period and managing the stress during the peaks. Similarly, think of RPA in terms of theory of constraints. You may not want inefficiency due to poor flow of supply and demand. Cost, another important one. If there is FTE release involved, then this is an obvious and easy one. However, there are cases where there is no FTE released, but cost is still saved by applying RPA, like cost of quality, rework, and repointing of FTE. There can be many more. Quality, if the parameters are defined and programmed well, then a bot is a bot. It will execute the instructions with no errors. It is important to measure quality because the bot is not dynamic. Mostly in machine learning it could be dynamic, but the process is certainly dynamic and there may be activities or sequences cropping up which are not programmed. The threshold should be set to raise the alarm to either change process or bot program. Capacity, we need to measure at what capacity the RPA is functioning. I haven't seen much of 100% utilization of RPA because the tasks simply finish. However, we have large FMCGs where the bots just keep on working on POs and invoices. Keeping measure will help you to understand demand and supply gap. Scalability, this is one of the most important metrics because this looks to do more with the same bot. So that's without adding any additional cost or much of the additional cost. If the RPA can be scaled by means of tweaks in the process or building exceptions, the ROI simply goes up. Next is the adaptability. We should not build process or tweaks outside the RPA to manage exceptions. If there are different transactions appearing, then it should be easily adaptable to manage it. Simply, RPA should be economical to make changes for exceptions or future process changes. Cycle time, a key one from the process excellence point of view. Usually you can't achieve efficiency if cycle time has not changed. It is important to see the complete value stream map and apply the RPA in the most significant ones. If RPA is applied but you have lag in the stream, then you are not getting the best out of your money. Now let's look into building these performance metrics for RPA. To build the performance metrics, it is important to answer what is the objective of RPA, what challenges the RPA is addressing, what improvement the RPA is bringing. There may not be one set prescribed for all RPAs, but the metrics have to be derived from the objective they are addressing. Generally, RPA is part of a larger process improvement aspiration, and it is imperative to understand the complete landscape. Value tree is a proven way to establish the metrics. Have a look at the example here. Not a perfect value tree, but shows a mapping of vision, enablers, and indicators. Won't talk much about it here as this certainly deserves a separate video. Application of RPAs and some of the areas where application of RPA has matured and very common over the last few years. It is important to consider the process orchestration in order to consider where to apply. Usually a value stream mapping is a good option to begin with. RPA should not be envisioned at the process level and should be an organization level investment. That is purely from the strategy and the cost point of view. It must align with the organization strategy, and the selected tool should be right fit for integration into the organization's ecosystem. You don't want a whole range of different vendors. RPA should be aligned with the organization's process improvement and process architecture. Some of the common application areas, so routine standard reconciliation for disparate systems, aggregation of output from disparate systems, standard communication or query resolution systems like your chatbots or query systems, data scraping and scrubbing. So that can support your analytics as well. With that, the video comes to end. If you like the video, do subscribe to stay tuned to the subject. Thank you.